What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. Don't do any shows over the weekend, but the weekend was good for me. I believe I went 7-2, so profitable weekend. See if we can roll that over here into this week. Veno, good to be back with you. How's everything on your end?
Things are good over here, Skee. Friday night was another good NBA night, and yesterday was one loss with Orlando team total. So NBA, I believe, since last Monday is now 7-2. Last nine, moving along pretty well. College hoop was 10-5 over the weekend to increase what we've been doing since December 1. That's been good. So yeah, and nothing to complain about except the 4-degree weather with winds out here behind my back, freezing my ass off over here. It's
Yeah, that
tough.
don't sound like a lot of fun.
Nah, it's cold. Other than that, we're good.
All right, well, let's see. We do have an early game going today. We have a few other games throughout the day. Not the biggest slate, but should still be some money out there. So we'll start with top of the rotation 551, 552. New Orleans and Charlotte opened up -6.5. Looks like 6.5 or 7. Total open 233.5. Looks like it's down 230.5, 231, something like that for New Orleans. Everybody looks like they're going to be available in that one. I mean, minus we know DeJounte Murray hasn't been playing. For the Hornets, same two suspects, Plumlee and KJ Simpson are out. Besides that, the rest of the game seems to be available. These Hornets, man, playing best basketball in the association right now. As far as for January, at least, it felt like Pelicans very inconsistent. I mean, I haven't thought of the Hornets as a team to lay with, but I mean, that's how they're playing right now, Rob. Is that how you attack this one, or I, what do you think about the total going down as well?
Well, a couple of things. It's hard to be anti Charlotte right now. Even Charles Lee, the head coach, came out and talked about how connected the group is, and they really are. They're playing great. I think we hit on it a couple of times over the course of last week, Ski, about how good their defense has been, but I got some numbers to put to that. The last month, so the month of January, the Charlotte Hornets defensive efficiency was down to 1.059 points per possession. So 1.06. Just to put it into some context, Oklahoma City is the best defensive team in the league for the entire season. Theirs is 1.07. So for the last month, they're playing on a defensive level that Oklahoma City's been on all season long. And when Charlotte plays that kind of defense, it's tough to bet against them because they can score the basketball. Now, the other thing that I thought about here with Charlotte is they got Philadelphia in this same weather situation last week, right? Bad weather in Charlotte. Philly had to have the game in Charlotte had to be pushed up to like 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, which this one is. And Charlotte destroyed them. Philly never got on track. It was like 130 to, I forget the final there, but it wasn't close. 130 to 93 is what it was. Win by 37. I just wonder if New Orleans isn't caught up in the same type of thing here. Game time is moved up. Charlotte should be ready. New Orleans has not been bad covering numbers as of late, 5-2, last seven. So that's good. But I just, even with all their guys in, I don't know that the spot sets up real well for New Orleans. So I'd probably look Charlotte based on the fact that their defense, I guess you could say now, in this case and in many other cases with Charlotte opponents, that the defensive disparity between Charlotte and their opponent is pretty significant at this point in time, the way Charlotte's playing. And of course, like I say, they seem to have a true pecking order where scoring is concerned. Now, right? It looks like Brandon Miller's the guy. Then it just follows from there. Got a lot of guys who can put it in the basket. So for me, it would probably be a small look towards Charlotte here, just because I think this 3 o'clock time start, it kind of reminds me exactly of what happened to Philadelphia. They got ambushed in this spot a week ago.
Yeah, so that's the reason for the time move up. I don't know why I didn't think about that again, but definitely could affect them. Pelicans might not even want to play today. So could be a situation where Hornets run away once again. Good call out there. I'm gonna keep moving to the next game. That is the Rockets and Pacers. Opened up -7.5. Looks like 6.5. Total keeps coming down from 223 to 218.5. Durant is out. Van Fleet, we know he's been out. Obi Toppin out as well for the Pacers. Um, I believe this is the first game for the Rockets this season without Kevin Durant. Um, so it's interesting what they're going to look like. I know they depend on him a lot. They need his scoring and shooting. Eh, Buckets are going to have to come from somewhere. I know other people might have to step up, but it'll be interesting to see what they look like for the Pacers. I mean, finally getting healthy. Um, Here at the house, Vino, I don't know. It's kind of appealing to take that plus 6.5. How you feel about it?
Yeah, we talk about cohesion in lineups an awful lot, and when you take Kevin Durant out, not only the obvious is the point subtraction, right? He contributes so many points, but the other is the ball movement, the situational when you get it to Durant, and I mean the whole thing just gets kind of discombobulated for a time here with Durant out. So I don't know that Houston will be the most fluid looking offense. But they could rely on their defense here. I mean, they've played five consecutive unders and they haven't necessarily scored a bunch of points lately anyway. 111, 104, 99, 108, 111. Houston hasn't been on this scoring rampage. Played a couple of pretty good defenses in there. So I don't know that I would be looking towards the Houston side in this game. It would probably be a little more towards under or Indiana. I think Houston will try to rely on defense, but covering 6.5, that's probably a little bit of a tall task here in this instance. If it goes the way I see it going, whereas Houston's just not on the offensive end, they're just not as fluid as they've been in the past. So probably I didn't play the game. Probably a small look at under here, just because Houston's been really, really good on the defensive end last 5 or 6, and they have been scoring with Durant anyway.
Yeah, they probably will struggle even more. I can understand why that total is dropping like that. Brian likes the Pacers. Says Rockets have Boston on deck. Joey reminding everybody to smash the like button. Appreciate that. Brian also says Rockets 15-2 to the under. Likes that under. A lot of different things out there in the chat. Somebody's got to step up for this Rockets team. Who's it going to be? It's going to be man Thompson, Shingun. Oh no, I would like Tari Eason. I know most people probably do too, but that's the guy that I would bet on in that one. Dropping Dime says maybe Pacers team total. I mean, Rockets have been playing good defense though, like Rob said. That's what will hold me off of that. All right, next game up. Kind of got hiccups here a little bit or something. I don't know what's going on. Minnesota and Memphis opened up -7.5. And this is strange because I see 7.5s, I see a 6, I see a 6.5. It's all over the place. So maybe we're getting some kind of news right now. Um, and yes, Jaren Jackson Jr. upgraded to probable in this game. So that's a little bit of that line move right there. Total did go up from 227.5 to
Alert.
2.5.
Alert.
Oh, I know what that is, Vino.
That guy, he scares me half the night. I'm telling you. I've told you before. It just comes out. I just shut the volume off, so we
Yeah,
won't hear
I
him
mean
again.
mine
But
too.
as you were saying it, that's what popped up: the Jaron Jackson Jr. Availability here. So reason why the line is moving. Um, I would say this: you talked an awful lot about how bad Memphis has been since they came back to the states, and they haven't really gotten untracked yet. Um, Minnesota's been so good as of late, Ski. It's not that long ago where you couldn't bet them and trust them in a favorites role. Now it's hard for me to bet against them because it seems like they've been a focused team as of late. I had them Friday night in a really obvious situation, laying 10.5 out west. I forget who the opponent was. Maybe Portland. It was somebody. And that wasn't Portland. I forget who it was. But regardless, it seemed too easy. The other side was banged up a little bit. and Minnesota went out there and just destroyed them like they should do on most nights when they're given the advantage, but what they haven't done all season long. But now they're starting to do that again. I just wonder if we talked about Boston being streaky. It's every NBA team goes through these spurts, but Minnesota right now is 4-0 against. In fact, it was against Memphis, the same team that they're playing today. Okay, 131, 114, laying 10.5 that night. Got home easy. It was an easy winner. 4-0 straight up against the number. Last four games, over under 2-2 each way. But they're winning by margin. Beat OKC 123, 111. Came back, won that game big. I don't know. Maybe you could expect, because this is a back to back with a day of rest in between. Maybe Memphis, because Jaren Jackson did sit out that game the other night. Maybe you could expect that Memphis has some bounce back ability here in this one. Numbers now down to 6.5, I guess, as I look at it. But I don't know that I could trust it, Skee. Honestly, I think if Minnesota comes to play, they're the winner here. They cover. And I'm thinking that, unlike, the majority of this season so far, that maybe they are showing up to play every single game heading into the All-Star break. So too confusing for me. I can make arguments both ways. I lay off this one. Don't have a really good thought on the total here. That other one the other night, Minnesota scored 131 against this team and 123 the game before. They're on a pretty good offensive roll here. And the defense is coming back. Just let me finish by saying 111 to Golden State, 83 to Golden State, 105 to Dallas, 111 to OKC, and then 114 to Memphis in a 17-point rout. Minnesota's defense coming around a little bit last 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, you do have Randall and Ant questionable here tonight, but I mean, like you said, it's been Timberwolves just blowing people out the past few games. They just played the Grizzlies, double digit point spread, blow them out. Now we come back, don't even travel, and the point spread is 7.5. I don't know. I feel like the Grizzlies can be competitive in this game. Somebody in the chat said it was Jamrock Kick said Ty Jerome looked good. He definitely did. He'll give them a boost offensively. Getting Jaren Jackson in this time around is that's a plus. Could be without and Randall. I'll be missing some offense for Minnesota there. Minnesota has been able to cover without Ant, but I don't know. I think the Grizzlies are the right side in this game. All right, last on the list is Sixers and Clippers. Opened up as a pick 'em, -2 or 1.5 for the Clippers here. Total open 220.5. Looks like hasn't really moved. But the Clippers, you do have Harden questionable, Derrick Jones Jr. doubtful. For the Sixers, Embiid is probable. Paul George is suspended. Clippers are on a back-to-back here. James Harden, if he does play, will be probably the freshest one because he didn't play yesterday. I feel like in this game, maybe we could see a lot of points. Embiid has been scoring pretty well lately. He could have another good game here. Harden versus one of his old teams could show up and have a good game here. Kawhi's been playing good. Kawhi may be motivated after the All-Star stuff. I think this one could see points. If I was picking a side, I think the Clippers have been playing too well lately to ignore. So it'll be Clippers are over for me. What do you think, Vino?
Yeah, I'm halfway with you there, Ski, because this is the one game that I did bet on the board, and I bet the Philly team total over 109.5. They've gotten there 5 of the last 7 games. Their offense and the Paul George suspension, I think that showed the other night where I don't know how much it really means. Like, they are better with him, but I don't know that they're substantially worse without him. The other night they walk out there and score 124 against New Orleans. I think they'll be just fine for 25 games without Paul George, and it probably benefits them coming into the playoffs because he'll be well rested by that time. But the back-to-backs for LA, and LA was in a game against Phoenix where they played really hard last night. The minutes don't show up as these enormous numbers, but and they did blow them out, but still that was a game that it seemed like their focus was on from the outset last night. In watching that, it just looked like LA wanted that game. Come back home, play Philadelphia. I'm not going to use this as part of the handicap but there is some, there's probably still some connection for Joel Embiid to wanting to play well against James Harden's team. I mean, when Harden left Philly here, that was not good between Embiid and Harden. And I don't think they carry any ill will anymore, but I do think in the back of Embiid's mind, he wants to win when he sees Harden on the other side of the floor. Now, if Harden doesn't play tonight, that's another thing. If he doesn't, I'm probably in better shape. Philly can run. We've talked about the Clippers. The other time I did this a couple of weeks ago or within the last 2 weeks was because I thought the Clippers would be slow in the second of a back-to-back. This is back-to-back with travel, albeit short travel. Philly's had rest. Philly's got pretty good young legs. I feel like this is a spot where Philly can at least score. The line isn't enough for me to get there with Philadelphia plus points, but I do think getting to 110 might not be as difficult as it's been for Clipper opponents recently because the Clips have played good defense. So I'm kind of bucking a couple of things here, but I think the situation pushes me there. I bet Philadelphia team total over 109.5.
Yeah, we're seeing this one kind of the same here. I think this could be very well be an over game. Just want to double check one last thing here. My bad. Pace numbers. Neither one are really playing with pace last 5 games. Both bottom 10. Sixers defense bottom 5. Clippers defense top 5. Both top 10 offensive rated teams. So interesting, but it is a low total, even though they're slow pace. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Dropping dimes like Sixers team total over. All right. That's the NBA slate. Only 4-piece for today, Vino. So we get in, we get out. Let's go ahead and promo a couple things. Let's see, what do we have here? We have, well, this is new. Super Bowl to Super Bowl, all access for only $99 per month. It's a good way to get involved long term. You also, maybe if you didn't want to go that far, you want to do 10 days of all access for the price of 7, you'll save $69 and get every play that we're making for 10 days here. So, Vino, on that note, I'm going to pass it to you. I'll ask you if there's anything else you'd like to promote. And if you have a best bet for the show, we'd like to hear it. We'd love to hear it. If you don't, no worries.
I like those new promos, Skee. 10 days for the price of 7. I think 7 for 3 worked out really well for them, so they extended a little bit over at WagerTalk. Included, obviously, if you go now, 10 for the price of 7 or anytime this week, so all Super Bowl stuff gets included in that package, right? The game, the props, et cetera, et cetera. So not only will you have both basketballs, NBA, college, but you'll have all the football as well. Skee, I'm going to leave a best bet because I bet it, and I think it's a pretty solid play. The Sixers team total over 109.5. I just explained why. It just seems to me it's a situational spot that sets up well for Philly to be able to score, whether they win the game or not. I don't want to run in front of the Clippers freight train because they've been covering at such a high rate. But I do think that defensively they could be a little sluggish here tonight against Philly. So give me that team total, Sixers side over 109.5.
Good stuff for Rob Vino. Yeah, what you said about Super Bowl. I have a package up for Super Bowl. It's a 5% best bet there, a couple other props and stuff. I know I've won, what is it? It's 3 of the last 4, 4 of the last 5, one of the 2 Super Bowls. So I usually do pretty good at that time. Other than that, I did want to put this up just because I got it extended here. So pretty much NBA and college basketball, you can get them both through the championships and at a reduced rate. I'm pretty sure it's like 150 off. So it's a good way to be involved for the rest of the season in basketball. And combined in basketball right now, I'm up 45, a little bit above 45 units for the season. All right. My best bet for the show. I'm not going to put any graphs, anything up here today, but I am going to go with Tari Eason over 1.5 threes. Brian did mention it in the chat. Even though not the greatest matchup, they're going to need him tonight, especially to space the floor without Kevin Durant there. And he's shooting it well. I mean, he's shooting just under 48% from 3. So I like him up and over. That'll be my best bet for the show. Vino, always appreciate you taking the time to break these games down with us. Helps my process. I'm sure it helps everybody else as well. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Great people, great cappers, and we all have one goal, just trying to help each other get to the window. So appreciate y'all. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action. We will be back here again tomorrow, and we'll catch you all then.